All right. Have you ever thought about like why some people just make you feel like really safe?
Yeah,
Like you can be yourself
totally.
around them?
Absolutely.
Today we're diving deep into that with Henry Cloud's work,
Okay.
in particular his book Safe People.
It's so fascinating how Cloud takes this feeling that I think we all have kind of intuitively
Right.
and he builds a framework around it. He doesn't just say trust your gut.
Right.
He actually gives you tools to analyze why certain people feel
Right.
safe and others just don't.
So Safe People dives right into defining who these safe people are.
Hmm.
What really stood out to you about his definition?
Well, he's pretty straightforward about it.
Yeah.
Safe people are the people that support our growth and well-being without, bringing us down.
Yeah.
They're the ones that make us feel comfortable being ourselves.
Wait.
All their quirks and all.
Yeah.
Think about that friend that you can call after a terrible day,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not going to judge you. They're going to listen. Yeah.
They're going to offer like a really helpful perspective.
That's a safe person.
That's a safe person.
So it's more than just like surface level niceness.
Right.
It's deeper.
It's a deeper level of trust.
Swift support. Yeah.
And Cloud actually gets even more specific.
Okay.
He outlines 5 core characteristics of a safe person.
Lay on me.
Empathy, accountability,
Mm-hmm.
encouragement, respect for boundaries,
Okay.
and consistency.
Those are some solid qualities, but
Yeah.
what do they actually look like in real life?
Okay, so let's take empathy, for example.
Okay.
It's not just about, feeling sorry for someone.
Right.
It's about really understanding their perspective.
Yeah.
Imagine you're facing a tough decision at work.
Mm-hmm.
A safe person wouldn't just tell you what to do.
Right.
They would listen to your concerns,
Uh-huh.
acknowledge your feelings,
Yeah.
and maybe even offer up a similar experience that they've had
Mhm.
to help you kind of gain perspective.
They're right there with you in the trenches emotionally.
Right.
Not just observing from a distance.
Yeah, they meet you where you are.
Exactly. And they're not trying to push their own agenda.
Yeah.
Precisely.
What about consistency?
Well, think about that friend I mentioned.
Uh-huh.
The one you call after a bad day.
Yeah.
A safe person will be that reliable shoulder to lean on
Yeah.
time and time again.
Okay.
Their actions consistently match their words.
Right.
You always know where you stand with them.
Okay, so if safe people are the ones who lift us up,
Mm-hmm.
who are the unsafe people?
Yeah, that's where things get really interesting.
Oh.
We all have people who drive us crazy, right?
Right.
But Cloud is focused on the ones who
Yeah.
are really detrimental to
Oh.
our growth.
Got it.
He uses some pretty stark red flags.
Like what?
Inconsistency, lack of empathy,
Mm-hmm.
blame shifting, judgmental attitudes,
Yeah.
and a need to control.
Those sound like relationship deal breakers.
I think so.
But does he give us any examples of how these traits play out
He does.
on real life?
Yeah, he talks about the abandoner.
The abandoner.
They might shower you with attention at first,
Okay.
but then they disappear when you need them most.
Interesting.
Think about that romantic partner who's all in at the beginning,
Yeah.
but then they pull away or ghost you without explanation.
Ouch.
Their inconsistency creates a sense of anxiety and distrust,
Right.
making it impossible to build that solid foundation.
Anyone else we should look out for?
Oh, yeah, the critic
Well,
who thrives on negativity
Yeah.
and judgment.
Right.
This could be that family member who constantly criticizes you,
Ah.
or that boss who never acknowledges your accomplishments
Right.
and just focuses on what you did wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Their words really chip away at your self-esteem,
Right.
making it hard to feel confident and secure.
It sounds like these unsafe people create a constant state of turmoil.
Yeah.
Emotional turmoil.
And a lot of this behavior stems from their own issues.
But that doesn't mean that we have to be their emotional punching bag.
Right.
Just recognizing those patterns.
Yeah.
Like the first step to protecting yourself.
Now, all this talk about safe and unsafe people
Mm-hmm.
has me thinking about attachment theory.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a connection there?
There absolutely is.
Okay.
What's fascinating is that Cloud's framework
Yeah.
really aligns with Bowlby's attachment theory.
Okay.
And you remember that it explores
Mhm.
how our early bonds with caregivers shape our relationship patterns later in life.
So if we had a secure attachment as a child,
Mm-hmm.
we're more likely to seek out and be comfortable with safe people
Exactly.
as adults.
Those early experiences provide a blueprint for what healthy connection feels like. But on the flip side,
Yeah.
if someone experienced inconsistent
Okay.
or unreliable caregiving,
Right.
they might unconsciously gravitate towards unsafe individuals.
Interesting.
Who reinforce those familiar
Right.
but unhealthy.
Unhealthy.
Wow. So insightful.
Isn't it?
It makes you realize how much those early experiences influence us.
They really do.
Throughout our lives.
And it's not about blaming our past.
Right.
It's about understanding those subconscious patterns.
Right.
So we can make more conscious choices.
Yes.
In the present.
This has been a really eye-opening start to our deep dive.
It has.
But we've only just begun to scratch the surface.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for part 2.
Okay.
Where we'll explore how these safe and unsafe dynamics play out in our real-life relationships.
Right.
And also explore some practical steps for cultivating healthier connections.
Oh, looking forward to it.
We'll see you there.
Sounds good.
Welcome back. I don't know about you, but my mind is still buzzing from that first part of our deep dive.
Me too.
Into safe people.
Yeah.
It's amazing how those early experiences really shape our relationship patterns.
It is.
Later in life.
Yeah, it really highlights the importance of self-awareness.
It does.
Doesn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, recognizing those subconscious patterns can really be a game changer in our relationships.
Totally. And speaking of game changers, I'm ready to dig into the practical side of Cloud's work.
Yeah.
He doesn't just point out the problem.
Right.
He offers solutions.
He does.
Right.
He does.
So one of the most powerful tools, I think, that he gives us is this concept of boundaries.
Boundaries.
I feel like that word gets thrown around a lot.
Right.
But what does it actually mean in the context of safe people?
Well, think of boundaries as those invisible lines that we draw to protect our emotional well-being. They define what we're willing to tolerate and what we're not.
Right.
Allowing us to engage in relationships from a place of strength and clarity.
So it's about setting limits, right?
Yeah.
Not letting people walk all over us.
Exactly. And here's the thing. Setting boundaries.
Yeah.
It's not selfish.
Yeah.
It's an act of self-love. And when we love ourselves, we're better equipped to love others in a healthy way.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But how do we actually set boundaries?
Yeah.
Especially with those unsafe people who might resist them.
It takes courage.
Yeah.
It takes practice.
Yeah.
But it is so essential for our well-being.
Okay.
Cloud suggests starting by just identifying the specific behaviors that are causing you harm.
Right.
What are the things that make you feel drained, disrespected, emotionally unsafe?
That's a good starting point.
Yeah.
Once we've identified the behaviors, what's next?
Then it's about communicating our limits.
Okay.
Clearly and assertively. And this doesn't have to be aggressive or confrontational.
Yeah.
It's about stating our needs and our expectations in a calm and respectful way.
So, for example, if someone's constantly interrupting me, I could say, I appreciate that you want to share your thoughts.
Right.
But I'd really like to finish what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Before we move on.
It's about being direct and specific.
Right.
Rather than vague or passive-aggressive.
Okay.
And the key is to be consistent.
Okay.
If someone keeps crossing your boundaries, you need to enforce those limits.
Yeah.
Even if it means limiting contact or removing yourself from the situation.
Sounds like setting boundaries is an ongoing process.
It is.
Not just like a one-time conversation.
It really is.
Yeah.
It takes practice and patience.
Yeah.
And it's not always easy, but remember, you're worth it. You deserve to be treated with respect. Setting boundaries is a way of honoring your own needs and values.
Now, does Cloud offer any guidance on how to deal with those situations where we can't just avoid an unsafe person?
Totally.
Like a family member or coworker?
He does. He acknowledges that sometimes completely cutting someone out isn't feasible or even desirable.
Yeah.
In those cases, he suggests a few strategies for managing those relationships in a way that protects our well-being.
What are some of those strategies?
Well, first and foremost, it's recognizing that we can't change the other person.
Right.
We can only control our own actions and reactions.
It's about accepting them for who they are.
Yes.
Even if we don't, agree with their behavior.
Exactly. It's about detaching emotionally from their drama, not getting caught up in their game.
Right.
This might involve setting firm limits on, how much time we spend with them or what topics we're willing to discuss.
So if a family member is constantly bringing up a sensitive topic that always leads to an argument, we can just say, hey, I'm not willing to discuss this right now.
Exactly.
Let's talk about something else.
And if they keep pushing,
yeah,
we can politely excuse ourselves from the conversation or even leave the room.
Yeah.
It's about setting those boundaries, even if it feels awkward or uncomfortable.
It sounds like it takes a lot of self-control.
It does.
And emotional maturity to navigate those situations effectively.
And Cloud emphasizes that emotional maturity is key to building healthy relationships.
Makes sense.
He encourages us to surround ourselves with individuals who exhibit emotional intelligence and the ability to regulate their own emotions.
So it's hard to feel safe with someone who's constantly, flying off the handle or seeing
Exactly. Emotional maturity involves things like taking responsibility for our actions, being empathetic towards others, and communicating our needs effectively.
It sounds like it's not just about finding safe people.
Yeah.
It's about becoming safer people ourselves.
You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Cloud stresses that personal growth is an ongoing process. And that we can actively work towards developing those qualities that make us safer and more trustworthy individuals.
That's encouraging. So how do we actually cultivate emotional maturity?
Well, self-awareness is a great place to start.
Okay.
Pay attention to your own emotional reactions. What triggers you?
Yeah.
How do you typically respond to stress or conflict?
Right.
Once you have a better understanding of your own patterns, you can start to make conscious choices
Okay.
about how you want to behave.
So if I know I tend to shut down emotionally when I'm feeling overwhelmed, I can make an effort to communicate my needs to my partner.
Exactly.
Instead of withdrawing.
And remember, it's okay to ask for help.
Right.
Therapy support groups or even talking to a trusted friend can provide valuable guidance and support.
Now, how does this concept of safe people and emotional maturity connect to the broader sociological context?
That's a great question.
We touched on a few theories earlier, but I'd love to explore those connections further.
So while Cloud often focuses on the individual level, his ideas have profound implications for society as a whole.
Okay.
Think about it. Safe people are the building blocks of strong communities.
Yeah.
They foster trust, cooperation, and mutual support, which are essential for a healthy and thriving society.
It's like a ripple effect.
It is.
Where one safe relationship can inspire countless others.
Exactly. And this ties into the concept of social capital,
Okay.
which Robert Putnam describes as the network's norms and trust that enable societies to function effectively.
Right.
Safe people contribute to positive social capital by modeling healthy behaviors, advocating for others, and creating spaces where people feel valued and respected.
So it's not just about individual well-being.
Right.
It's about creating a social fabric that supports everyone's growth and flourishing.
Absolutely. And symbolic interactionism plays a role here as well.
Okay.
This theory emphasizes how our interactions with others
shape our perceptions of ourselves and the world around us.
So if we're surrounded by safe people,
Yeah.
we're more likely to develop a positive self-image.
Exactly.
And feel a sense of belonging.
And contribute positively to society.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It is.
Where positive interactions breed more positive interactions.
It really is.
And create this virtuous cycle.
Precisely. And role theory also comes into play here.
Okay.
Safe people often take on roles like mentors, confidants, or community leaders, contributing to social cohesion and providing guidance to others.
Yeah, they inspire us to become better versions of ourselves
Right.
and create a more just and compassionate world.
It's amazing how these seemingly simple ideas about safe people connect to such profound sociological concepts.
Right. It really highlights the importance of cultivating
It does.
these kinds of relationships.
Yeah.
Not just for our benefit, but for our communities and society as a whole.
For everyone, welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into safe people.
It's been quite a journey.
It has been an incredible journey, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, we've gone from like identifying those people who make us feel secure to understanding how our past shapes our present relationships.
Absolutely.
And even explored the impact of these dynamics on like society as a whole.
It really has. And I think we've all learned a lot about ourselves and the kinds of connections that we want to cultivate in our lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But there's one piece of the puzzle that we haven't quite explored yet.
Okay.
And that's Cloud's concept of loving well.
Oh, okay.
This phrase pops up a lot in safe people.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious to unpack it.
So loving well is really about going beyond the surface, beyond those easy declarations of love. It's about like taking action, making choices that truly benefit the other person.
Right.
Even when it's hard.
Yeah.
Even when it's inconvenient for us.
So less about grand gestures and more about the everyday actions that show support.
Think about it this way.
Okay.
Imagine a friend is going through a tough time.
Yeah.
Someone who loves well
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't just offer empty platitudes or try to fix their problems. They would show up.
Yeah.
Listen without judgment. Offer practical help.
Yeah.
Be a consistent source of support throughout the entire process.
That's a powerful example.
Yeah.
It really highlights the difference between saying we care and actually demonstrating it through our actions.
And here's the thing that really struck me.
Okay.
Cloud sees loving well as a skill.
Okay.
Something we can develop over time. With practice and intention.
That's so encouraging because that means we're not stuck
Right.
in our current patterns.
Exactly.
We can learn to love in a healthier and more filling way.
Absolutely. And one of the key ingredients of loving well is boundaries.
Boundaries, again?
Yeah.
It seems like such a recurring theme.
It is. It's fundamental to healthy relationships for ourselves and the people that we care about.
Yeah.
Remember, they allow us to define our limits. Protect our emotional well-being, which gives us the space to love from a place of strength and clarity.
So setting boundaries isn't selfish.
No.
It's actually an act of love.
It's about respecting ourselves enough to say no when we need to.
Yeah.
It's about giving the other person the space to grow and develop their own emotional maturity.
It's a win-win.
It is.
But how do we apply this concept of loving well to different types of relationships?
Right.
Is it the same for romantic partners as it is for friends or family?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And Clouda does offer some specific guidance for different relationship dynamics. So when it comes to romantic partnerships, he emphasizes the importance of mutual respect, open communication, and a willingness to work through conflict constructively.
So building a partnership where both people feel seen, heard, and valued.
Exactly.
What about with parenting?
So with parenting, he stresses the importance of setting clear limits.
Okay.
Providing structure and teaching kids responsibility.
So loving well in that context means equipping them with the tools they need to be independent and well-adjusted.
It's about guiding them, supporting them, and allowing them to make their own mistakes while still being there to offer love and encouragement along the way.
And what about friendships?
So Cloud really emphasizes mutual support, honesty, and shared values in friendships.
Yeah.
It's about being that friend who shows up, listens without judgment, offers a helping hand when needed. But it's also about holding each other accountable, challenging each other to grow, and celebrating each other's successes.
It's like being that true ride or die friend.
Yes.
The one you can always count on.
Exactly. And even in professional settings.
Yeah.
Loving well has its place.
Okay.
It might manifest as being a supportive colleague, a mentor who invests in others' growth, or a leader who creates a culture of respect and collaboration.
So it sounds like loving well is less about our role.
Yes.
And more about like the intention.
You nailed it.
Behind our actions.
It's about consistently choosing to act in a way that promotes well-being for ourselves and others, regardless of the specific dynamic.
So insightful. But as we wrap up our deep dive into safe people, what's one key takeaway?
If there's one thing I want everyone to remember, it's this: building healthy relationships, the kind that make us feel safe and loved, is an ongoing process.
Okay.
It's not about finding the perfect people or achieving some idealized state of harmony. It's about showing up every day, being willing to learn and grow. And choosing to love even when it's hard.
Embracing the messiness and imperfections. Knowing that we're all works in progress.
We are.
And trusting that we can create something beautiful and meaningful.
Absolutely.
Even amidst the challenges.
Beautifully said. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. There are resources available, people who care, a community waiting to support you.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of safe people.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope that you've gained some valuable insights and practical tools for cultivating healthier, more fulfilling relationships in your life.
Absolutely.
Remember, keep learning, keep growing, and keep choosing love.